Earlier, Joe mentioned Peggy Noonan's latest piece for the Wall Street Journal. It's titled, "In Gut We Trust," and Peggy writes this about the president's social media threats against Iran, quote, "Donald Trump's posts left his friends and foes slack-jawed. I want to talk about why they were so horrifying. They constituted hitting a new bottom, a new and infernal, face-lit by flames bottom in world communications. The posts weren't showbiz, they were sinister. You destabilize the world when, as the American president, you say such things. You make all the babies in this delicately poised, always knockdownable world less safe. You rob your own nation of a claim to moral seriousness in the military action in which it's engaged. You are saying we're not trying to protect life, but plan to attack and in the attacking kill non-combatants who are members of the targeted civilization. The moral high ground is relinquished. You lower the bar for all potential response. You encourage violent action by trumpeting your readiness for it. He operates as if he honestly believes we don't need allies, as if the concept is antique. But having and holding allies is simple prudence. Allies add legitimacy and moral authority. Having allies means that when something bad happens, you don't stand alone. It is not sentimental to care about this. It is babyish to think it means nothing.
I want to repeat that last line. It is not sentimental to care about this. It is babyish to think it means nothing. And I repeat that line for everybody that says, oh, you just don't understand what Donald Trump's doing with Greenland. Oh, you just don't understand what he's doing with his tweets. You just don't understand. We're smarter than you are. We understand what's coming. No. Now, Peggy's exactly right. It's something I've been saying to these people who tell me, oh, you're just not wise to the new world. No, I am. I'm old, but I understand the consequences like Peggy. What I think is so fascinating, David Drucker, is earlier we were talking about the MAGA element and also the mainstream element that there. And here's Peggy from the mainstream element. I just wrote down some of the words. His actions horrifying, a new bottom, sinister. Trump robs his own nation of the moral high ground, killing civilizations. The violent language encourages violent actions. And, of course, talking about how babyish it is to think you can go it alone in this very dangerous world. You know, you mix Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson and then on another wing further out, Candace Owen and Alec Jones. And then Peggy, who represents the middle of the Republican Party and has since Ronald Reagan. Peggy's words, it seems the president has challenges coming from all sides inside the Republican Party.
Well, there's no doubt that the president has issues within the party. I think the issue is to what extent and where are we right now? You know, I was just spent a few days in Indiana this week for a story, and I'm talking to Republican voters out there and Republican insiders, and most of the discussion is not about the war in Iran. It's not about the president's rhetoric, and I think for so many Republicans, whether they like it or not, and many don't, they've sort of chalked this up to the price of admission for the president, and I think there's a sort of psychological block where you either need to believe that the president is playing, ninth level chess, or you need to confront the fact that this is a huge problem and will be for years to come. And it's easier to believe that he knows more than us and he's going to get us places by acting this way, that doing things the conventional, normal way will not. And I think we see where that's leading us, right? Because you look at the president's political standing overall, and it's greatly diminished from where it was a year ago. The political opportunity for him to get things done is incredibly diminished from where it was a year ago. But this is who Trump has always been. I feel, Joe, it's like I feel like a broken record here. We've been having this discussion about Donald Trump for a decade, and it always leads to the same place. And I think the Republican Party, when you're in a situation where midterm elections are looming and you're in deep trouble, you're just trying to get by from day to day because there is no stopping him. There's no influencing him. There's no getting him to be who he doesn't want to be. And so I think the real crash is going to come at some point after Trump, right? Particularly in 2028. That's when the party's going to have to grapple with this. And the real impact of it is going to be felt. I think for now, he holds on to the party, and we're seeing that because nobody wants to cross him in the middle of primary season. It's just as simple as that.
Well, the crossing that has come from right-wing influencers, some with huge followings and some who are reaching people beyond their regular audiences now, definitely hit him hard. That post was so long. He spent a long time writing it. But back to the politics of this, we have this huge problem of Iran and all the different consequences that could be coming our way. And then you have a president who has a tweet on Easter Sunday, followed up by a tweet about decimating a civilization and committing war crimes. Both posts would get any other president in significant risk of whether it be impeachment or something, questions about whether or not he's fit for the job.
Right.
And yet here, Republicans, except for maybe one person, have said nothing.
Well, a few have